Well, welcome back, Blade fans. This old sword with you once again. And look what arrived in a plain brown box yesterday, or almost plain. But something with a wee knife in it. From White Mountain Knives. Let's take a look. And let's give us a little more room here. Not quite that much room. Okay. So there's your standard wee pouch. And a wee card. And I think there were some wee stickers in there too. And a wee microfiber cloth. And most importantly, a wee knife. Been waiting for this one for some time. Justin over at White Mountain Knives was able to locate one. They have been discontinued. This is the wee 620, and I believe this is the G model. We're going to look at it a little closer in a moment, but first we're going to run down just a few details as I brighten things up in the picture. This particular wee knife, the 620G, and I'm reading from the Blade HQ website in their specifications. 8.75 inches overall length. Blade length 3.75 inches. Cutting edge 3.25 due to the large finger choil on the blade, and useful one I might add. It is a Wharncliffe style blade. It is a black finish on part of the blade and a hand rubbed directional horizontal brushed finish on the flats. Hardness of the M390 Boulder steel is 59 to 61 Rockwell. It is plain edge, not serrated. Handle length 5 inches. Handle thickness 0.53. Handle materials titanium. The color is gray with kind of a brass bronze showing through. The weight 5.06 ounces. It's a right hand tip up only carry. Operates on thumb studs. It's a frame lock. Considered everyday carry. So, having read the specs, let's take a closer look at a very beautiful knife. The way this was done is typical wee fashion. There are so many highlights to it and unusual appointments that I might miss a few. Let's see if I can get to most of them. We have a directional hand rubbed satin finish here on the flat. We have black on the flat ground blade. Notice we have star screws everywhere, hence an older model. They're not doing this anymore to the best of my knowledge. There's your double thumb stud with jimping. Beautiful detail on the back strap with an interesting back strap or back spacer. It is dovetailed in here, so to speak. So we actually have a cut in the handle frame where this portion is inserted. This, however, spans between the two handle halves. And the whole thing has a lovely stonewash gray to it with, if you look carefully, kind of a brassy look coming through. Here's some of the very fine milling in this portion here, actually all the way through that handle flat. Chamfering here, and I'm not sure about weight relieving. Yes, so we're milled out inside as well. Try to keep that in focus for you. Lots of milling on both sides of the handle, which keeps the weight down to that 5 ounces because this is a longer and heavy knife. Not sure if I read the blade thickness off to you. 0.16, so it's over 4 millimeters. Pretty hefty blade stock. Not crazy thick, but when you're looking at this high flat grind here, you can get that in focus once again. And this really interesting fuller here. But that high flat grind gives you a very fine cutting edge. Didn't measure it. I don't typically measure the thickness behind the edge. Perhaps I should start doing that, but for the moment I'm not. Full finger choil on the blade. Full workable, usable finger choil for whatever work you might be doing with this fancier than normal knife. There's your beautiful WE logo in brass, and just nicely done. Have this milling on the handle here, this slot. Got another one of those brass looking screws with a star on it. They do give you a star wrench with this. I won't show it to you, but trust me, it's a little short thing. You probably need to sort of get a good grip on it if you're going to use it. It had been the source of complaints by owners of WE knives, and I think that's why they moved away from it. But you know, it just gives it, nothing else is going to give this such a neat look. Almost looks like an army star there. And you got 3 of them here, and you got this ventilated clip, which is sort of deep carry if you angle it into the pocket that way. Titanium all the way through. Got some good spring to it, actually. Not too stiff. And you got your typical WE 3 slots there. You know, they could just have milled that whole thing out for the locking bar relief on this, but they put those 3 grooves in there instead. Pretty amazing. Hardened steel insert held in by that screw. And you know, it just goes on and on and on. As I mentioned earlier, it is M390, Bowler M390, super steel, so to speak. There's your mark right there. And no other markings on the blade. Nicely done. There's your little lanyard hole right on the very tip there. Also interestingly done. So, you know, the funny thing is, I shot and edited this whole video realizing that I think I opened the knife once. So I wanted to give you just a little idea of the action. It is on thumb studs. You got very good purchase, and the action is very smooth on bearings. At this point, not broken in, not too oiled up, so not exactly drop shutty, but certainly smooth. Definitely positive opening. And a few more shots of it in the closed position. And a few more details. Perfectly, beautifully centered. And we'll now move on to the comparisons. Thank you very much. Let's bring a few blades in for comparison. Beginning with the Griptilian. Smaller knife, shorter blade, close to the same handle length. They're at 1. Overall, pretty much same length. And the ever-present Benchmade Boost I carry these days. About the same length. So it's a 3 3/4 inch blade, not a 4-inch, not huge. Oh, I love this knife a lot. It's just, it hits all the right buttons for me. What can I tell you? Just really neat. We'll give it a quick review there visually one more time so you can soak it in. And hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. This old sword signing off.